Hi everyone, and welcome to this new speed build in The Sims 4. So today I'm building a house made of 3 containers, and this house actually is inspired by the current household that I'm playing currently. I have recently started playing with the Random Legacy Challenge, which is actually a first for me. I previously talked about this on the channel because I did a create a sim of Sydney plot, and also I made a speed build of the trailer that she would be living in. And that sim actually came to be from the Random Legacy Challenge because I like to roll the dice from this challenge and see what kind of sim I would end up with. And that's how Sydney came to be. And I decided to start playing with another sim, so not Sydney. I still have Sydney on the side. I'm thinking maybe one day having a series with her, but I'm not so sure anymore. We'll see in the future. It's not something that I'm thinking doing right now. But yeah, I wanted to try out just the Random Legacy Challenge on my own. And so I created this sim whose name is Gia Driscoll, and she lives in Port Promise, and I was thinking actually having her moving in here because she recently had her boyfriend, now husband, move in with her, and he brought with him some money, and I don't know, I'm not really following the rules of the Random Legacy Challenge per se. I'm kind of making up my own rules as I go. But yeah, he brought with some money with him, and I know that usually you should get rid of that money, but I thought, he had his life on his side, and he came to live with her, and he brought with him some money, which makes sense, So with the money that he got, or actually that he brought with him, I thought that they could maybe improve their house. And honestly, I didn't really like playing in Port Promise because I really find this neighborhood really empty and big without nothing in it, and it's just, I don't know, I wasn't really having that much fun in that neighborhood. But since I had my Sims vote for the green initiatives and the other one that improves a little bit the pavement and some of the paintings on the walls and stuff. I don't remember the name of this one. But anyway, the improvement, the two neighborhood action plans that improve the neighborhood. Port Promise is actually a really pretty neighborhood, so I actually decided to have them stay in Port Promise, but I've used this house here, which is actually what I was coming to eventually. So this house is made of 3 containers, and you have one on the top, 2 downstairs, and the 2 downstairs were actually the 2 containers that Gia started off with, and I just decided to add another one upstairs because she has to have one child for her generation, which made things really easy when it comes to creating a house made of containers, because you can have, in this house you have 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom, and of course kitchen, dining, and a small living space. But yeah, so this house was made for them, and here where I've placed the pool, I was actually thinking placing a rocket ship, because Gia had to be a space explorer and she could only make money from things that she found in space. As for her boyfriend, now husband, Cornelius, who was a sim that I downloaded off the gallery, he had to be a florist, and he makes money, which is why here I'm placing some garden planters and also of course the insects, because they're kind of fun to play with, and I wanted to experiment a bit more with the insects for my Eco Lifestyle series, because I really have no idea how most of the stuff that we have in this expansion pack work. And yeah, I'm going to place also as well in the garden a floral arrangement table, because as I said, Cornelius is a florist, and yeah, they're making mainly money from stuff that they built from the woodworking table and the flower arrangement table, and as well from stuff that Gia finds in space. She doesn't really find many things, but I managed to have her have the portal that gets her to 6M, and there she finds a bunch of rocks, a bunch of rocks, pretty much. Some plants as well that she planted in the garden. But yeah, so this house at first I thought would be the house that they would be living in here in Conifer Station, because I really, really like this place in Evergreen Harbor. I think this is my favorite neighborhood of this world. And I don't know if it's considered as an unpopular opinion, but I'm not a huge fan of Evergreen Harbor, to be honest. Not because of all the trash. I actually think that the trash is really cool, and the dynamic of the world is really, really pretty. But I don't know, I'm not a huge fan. I think it's really big and open and empty. That's what I feel about this neighborhood, this world. But I like playing in it, it's fun, especially because you can see the world change around it, and yeah, it's really cool in that sense. But other than that, I don't know, I'm not a huge fan of that world. But anyway, as I was saying, I was thinking having Gia and Cornelius move in here in Conifer Station in this house. But eventually I just decided to place this house down in Port Promise, and I just changed a little bit the landscaping around, and it was actually a little bit better because this way they could have more space outside, because this lot I think is a 20 by 15 or 20 by 20, I'm not sure. It's quite a small lot actually, while the starter lot in Port Promise is a 30 by 20, so it's much bigger, and it was a bit better when it comes to having a rocket ship and also having a garden and some space, to do stuff outside. So that's also why I decided to let them live in Port Promise. Plus the neighborhood was improving a bit more, and I was enjoying playing in that neighborhood a little bit more. But here I'm starting to moving on. I am moving on in the inside of the containers. So when it comes to the furnishing and the decoration, it's really simple and quite empty, but I mean the containers were pretty small. I decided to make the containers even smaller than what I usually do, because usually I make the containers 4 tile wide and I think 9 tiles of the length, of the containers. But here the containers are 8 tile long and 3 tiles wide, so they're pretty small. But it's enough, to have a bathroom, 2 bedrooms, and you can see as well which is going to be the master bedroom just next to the kitchen. I've expanded a little bit the wall on the entrance, because I didn't really know what to place on that little deck area anyway, so I decided just to widen a little bit the master bedroom. This way I could place a double bed and a dresser without having to use too much of the move objects sheet. Here, when it comes to the dining room, it's really empty, and I think I went a little bit too overboard by using this big table, but I was really imagining that they could invite a bunch of friends, because one of the other rules that I rolled for the generation that I'm currently playing with Gia, she has to have the best club ever, and she has a bunch of friends, so she likes to invite people over and dance around with them. And this house is really small when it comes to throwing parties. Just so that you know, it's really, really small. Having a bunch of Sims in it is really, really difficult, but it's doable. It's doable. Also, the house is worth 41,000 simoleons, lot included, so I think the house is only worth 40,000 simoleons or so. So it's not too expensive, actually. You can easily afford to live in this house. And so here I'm moving on to the master bedroom, and the color theme that I'm going to go with is purple, because that's Gia's favorite color, and she has a bunch of purple on her and a bunch of purple everywhere in her house. And since this house was supposed to be her house, I wanted to have her bedroom reflect her style, reflect her love for purple. And by the way, if you'd be interested in seeing a current household of Gia and Cornelius and their child now, because they had their baby together, please let me know in the comments, and I'll see to do a current household video. And I can also show you the improvements that I've made on this house, this container house, but in Port Promise, and how I've changed a little bit around the neighborhood, the garden. But I think actually that this house, this container house in not Port Promise, in Conifer Station, kind of suits the neighborhood pretty well, because this lot is a little bit farther than the rest of the other houses on this street. Because in this neighborhood you have a bunch of houses that look like very cheap suburban houses, I think, at least. And this lot is a little bit, as I said, farther away from those lots. And I was thinking that maybe Gia and Cornelius brought along with them their containers and put them there on this empty lot, which probably one day used to be a park, like a very small park, and they decided to place their tiny house in a way here. By the way, this house is not a tiny house. It has way too many tiles for it to be a tiny house. I think it had like three too many tiles, I think. That was in English at all. I'm really struggling today. I'm really sorry. Hopefully that's not too annoying to listen to. But yeah, I was thinking that Gia and and Cornelius brought their containers here and improved on them to welcome their baby here in this house. And yeah, I think this house actually looks really nice in this neighborhood. I think it goes pretty well with it. But now that I've done all of the improvements in Port Promise, I'm really curious to see what it is or how it is in Conifer Station and also in Grimm's Quarry. I'm really curious to check those out because it really, really improved Port Promise. Port Promise now looks very beautiful, very, very green and very lively actually. And that makes me love even more the style that it had before, and I think I'm enjoying a bit more actually living in Port Promise now. But yeah, once again, Evergreen Harbor is not my favorite world in The Sims 4. But I like this dynamic that it has from all of the neighborhood action plans and how you can actually change the world around it. But here I'm moving on to the top container, so the container upstairs, and here I'm decorating a little bit the bedroom upstairs, which is going to be furnished for a child or a teen. It doesn't really have any style in it. It's just, you know, basically furnished so that if you want to have a child here or a teenager here, you can. And here is also the living room. And I love those shelves that I just placed here. I really love them. And I think they go really well with the style that I was trying to go with in this house, because I was thinking, since Cornelius, you know, he's a maker, and in the gallery, he was described as someone who has magic hands and kind of a gift to creating things. I was thinking that maybe he had fabricated on his own this shelf here using a bunch of pipes together and some wooden planks to make the shelves. And yes, also I placed this juice fizzing machine because he is also into juice fizzing, you know, since he does a lot of bouquets and a lot of flower arrangements. You know, he has a bunch of flowers in his inventory, and I was thinking that maybe he would like to make some side money using the juice fizzer to make some kombucha. So there you go. That's why there is the juice fizzer here. But upstairs I'm going also to put the candle making machine, because I was thinking that it would make some candles, but in the end in my own gameplay, I actually got rid of it because he never really works with it. He just makes juice fizzing, flower arrangements, and Gia spends all of her time in space. So there you go. But yeah, I was thinking that Cornelius and Gia had built a lot of their furniture, actually, I think, like their bed, maybe some of the table that they have in this container house. The sink also that's just next to the flower arrangement table was, I think, a sink that Cornelius built. And also all of the garden planners, even though, you know, they are the garden planners that you have in the build and buy mode. In my current gameplay, they built all of their garden planners. So that was what I was thinking, and I was thinking actually replacing those by the ones that you can build in-game. So yeah, that's what I was thinking with that shelf and with a bunch of all of the furniture that I've used in their house. And here I'm moving on to the kind of child/teen bedroom. And I really like the color scheme that I went with inside. It's really warm and not too warm at the same time. You know, it's very dynamic and really cooling. I don't know, I really like this bedroom. It's really nice. I think it's a bedroom that I would have liked to have. Plus, there's a lot of light in it, since, you know, there are three windows in this bedroom. But it's a very nice bedroom. And I'm sorry if you can hear some noise. My cat is walking on the bed, and the bed is kind of, I don't know how to say it, you know, it makes a lot of noise when you sit on it. But anyway, I think I'm almost done now with the interior. I'm just going to add some touches here and there of decorations. I was keeping an eye as well on the budget that I was on, because I wanted for Gia and Cornelius to afford that house pretty easily, or be able to afford that house pretty easily without having to wait too much for it. And eventually they actually managed to have this house right away. And then I'm going to move on to doing a little bit of landscaping, even though there's not a whole lot to do with the landscaping. I just placed some trees here and there that are pine trees, kind of, since around Evergreen Harbor there are a lot of pine trees and conifer kind of trees, I guess. I don't know, I think this is how they're called in English, I'm not so sure, but you know, pine trees and stuff. I also remembered to go into debug because I wanted to have those bushes that looks really great, and you can see a bunch of those around the neighborhood, and I thought that it could look great to have some around here. And I'm also going to use a bunch of dirt paint terrain tool on the rest of the grass, just to avoid having it too green, since, you know, right now the neighborhood is kind of dingy and not very good looking in a way. I wanted for this lot to not be too green and too perfect. But yeah, I think I'm almost done. Actually, I'm pretty much done with this build right now, so I really hope that you like these container houses, or this container house. I'm so sorry, I'm not really good at doing my voiceover today. I hope it wasn't too annoying to listen to. I'll do better next time. I'm really sorry about this. But I really hope that you enjoyed this build, and yeah, let me know in the comments what you think. Of course, in the description you will find all of the information to download this house on the gallery using my origin ID, which is Majam11, or you will find also a link to the online gallery, which you can download it on there. And yeah, I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I'm so sorry that my voiceover was kind of all over the place. I'll do better next time. If you've stuck around until here, thank you very much, and yeah, I will talk to you in my next video. Bye everyone!